Well, people, you see who we got coming up at 9 o'clock. It is now 10 minutes before the top of the hour in the East Coast. It is going on to 9 o'clock in 10 minutes. Conjure Queen will be in the building. If you don't know who she is, you better find out and ask somebody, baby. Oh man, that's her information right there. You know, she's an international public speaker, spiritual advisor, holistic healer, and a mentor, which I like to say Jesna. You know, I don't like to say that word mentor, but you can spread some cash at love to $ Conjure Queen. That's $ Conjure Queen. Hit her up, 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 and we'll be back after this. Don't touch that dial, baby. We'll be back right now, right here at King Simon Presents Only Quality People. Don't go nowhere, family. We got it coming for you. Your brother's in the building. We'll be back right after this. Content disclaimer. The views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teachers, scholarship, education, and research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringed. Yeah, baby. Your brother's back in the building. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my God. Tell a friend and tell them all. King Simon is in the building today. Everybody got to get up and play. Yeah! Your brother King Simon is in the mother flipping building right now. We got a special guest right now with us coming up in the momentarily. We got a special guest coming up. All you have to do is tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell your cousin, tell everybody that your brother King Simon is in the building. The founder of the Ministry of Numerovation, baby. That means we use the numbers to give guidance to each and every one of you in a motivational way. You know how we do it, baby. All right, now stop playing. Remember, every Sundays and Wednesdays, we do it right here. Remember, the Cash App is on the top right there. That's right, the Cash App is right there. Spread love. Bop, bop, mm. Spread love. Bop, bop. You better spread love. Spread love. Bop, bop. Just want to remind y'all that, of course, we got a double header also on Sunday. We got the one, the only Queen Mother Tassili Ma'at will be in the building. We're going to be talking about the Wonderful Wizards of Raw. She's the producer of the Wonderful Wizards of Raw. She does an annual event. This is the 10th. I think this is the 9th or the 10th anniversary of it. And we're going to be over there at Tassili Raw on June the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And I believe I'm one of the speakers. So we're going to have some fun. And then later on that evening, I have the one, the only Copper Vibration. Good vibration, yeah. That's the positive vibe we keep creating, yeah. Copper Vibration. That's what we're going to have that evening. They make the best coppers out there. They're one of the best copper makers and jewelry makers in the world. And don't forget, we got Sonia Barrett, PhD, neuroscientist, going to be bringing in that information, the natural science of the path inwards. And then later on that evening, I will be on Forbidden Knowledge TV. They're going to be interviewing me about the mental strategies using the numbers. I am the numerovator, so I'm going to have fun with them. You know that. And remember, this program is sponsored in part by MyBlueLotusTravels.com. That's MyBlueLotusTravels.com. Make sure you give them a call at 347-997-4417. And Lloyd Strayhorn, Lloyd-Strayhorn.com. Make sure you give him a call at 800-581-4401. That's right. And I want to remind everybody that in the month of June, I have the brother Baba Ankh Rising Sun coming in on the 7th. On the 11th, we have the one, the only Baba Phil Valentine will be with us on June the 11th. But earlier before him at 12 o'clock, I have the artist extraordinaire for many years. His name is Ical. That's Ical Beckford would be in the building. And then on the 14th, we have the one, the only Dr. MJ will be in the building. And then on the 18th, I have Shaquana Lino, the psychic medium, will be here on the 18th. And then we have Elizabeth from EPS, Holistic and Wellness Products. We're going to have her coming in live and direct. And then on the 25th, I have Miss Jessica coming in. We got a lot of great people coming in, so give all of them a well-deserved round of applause. I'm feeling good. I hope you're feeling good. Let me see who's out there today. Let's see who's in the live chat. I hope y'all are sharing. I hope y'all are sharing what we got here. Big up, big up, big up to all of y'all. Okay, I see C. Diggs in the building. Nicole Green in the building. I see Melanated Brown in the building. East Stormer in the building. So we have Spiritual Awakening in the building. Remy Gums in the building. So big up to all of y'all. Thank y'all for coming in. Give a round of applause. And remember, family, this is a program that you can support. It's all about supporting that content creators. And remember, it's about circulating the money. Do not spend your money. Circulate the money. That's what it's all about. Like Reverend Ike used to say, circulate the money and it will come back to you abundantly. Circulation is the best kind of nation you could have. The best kind of shun you could have is circulation. Circulation. And there it is. You could also circulate via Cash App, via PayPal. Also, you can circulate via Super Chat. Also, you can actually circulate via Super Chat. The Super Chat, you can always circulate via Super Chat. Let's have some fun. It goes to a good place. It goes to a good cause. It keeps me bringing the people up here, and it keeps the bells and whistles running right here on King Simon Presents Only Quality People. We're also broadcasting on Facebook at King Simon and King Simon Productions on Facebook. And we're broadcasting on my private Facebook page. It's called the Ministry of Numerovation. It's also broadcasting on that. So I'm happy that it's broadcasting there also. So much love to all my private followers on the Ministry of Numerovation. And if you want to be a part of that, guess what? You can actually go to my link tree and be a part of my private Ministry of Numerovation, yeah, you could be a part of that, and you can actually help out by donating through the PayPal. Okay, let me turn that down. Okay, let me turn that down because, like I said, we're broadcasting live and we're having a good time here, and we're waiting for our beautiful sister to come up. We're gonna have a. Let me make sure. Oh, wait a minute, Facebook. What you doing here? You trying to make it private? Don't make it private. Let people get in. What you doing, Facebook? Gotta talk to Facebook. Come here, baby. What you doing, baby? I love my little Facebook. Here we go. Save that. Now we're broadcasting live on King Simon, and I want to make sure everything is well. I see my beautiful guest is behind the scenes, ready and willing to come up and have a good old time. Because you know how we do, Negroes. We be having a good old times, bro. And before we bring her on, me and his sister got some history. She used to come to my events at Nicholas and vend at different events, man. She used to sell these beautiful candles back in the day that, man, I still have one of them in my storage, man. That's how deep it is. But the scent is so good. You just can't get rid of those. You can't just burn those things out. It just don't make no damn sense to burn them out. You just supposed to put it in your room and just make it smell up the place. That's all it's supposed to do. That's all it's supposed to do. But let me tell you, Conjure Queen is an international public speaker, spiritual advisor, holistic healer, and Jejna. I don't like to say mentor. That's a homosexual thing. Jejna means accountable teacher and guide. With her controversial discussions, compassion for her community, and carefree, down-to-earth Brooklyn attitude, people naturally gravitate towards her message, and her YouTube channel exploded. Today, she integrates her own spiritual journey and personal life experience to help inspire, motivate, and educate millions of people around the world towards the truth, wisdom, freedom, and love. Let's give this sister a well-deserved round of applause as I bring her on my platform for the first mother flipping time. Brooklyn's own, finest, sexiest, wonderful number 6 Cancer energy, the one, the only Conjure Queen in the building.
Wow, thank you for that amazing introduction, King Simon. You definitely
I know you haven't forgot what type of introducer I was.
Never that. Like, you always know how to make somebody shine, man. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Like you said, we have so much history, so it's funny how we're having this full circle moment. So thank you.
It is a beautiful thing. Thank you very much for coming on. This is your first time on my platform since I've even set up a platform. And I seen you on Brother Rich. I said, oh man, Conjure Queen still doing her thing. You know, that's right. And I watch you on IG doing your thing on your YouTube channel, doing your thing, and you be doing your thing. So that's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? And people are really shouting you out on the line. Okay, there we go. There you go. People are out there saying, oh my goodness,
shout out to the family, peace family. Yes, they always show love.
They know what it is. Vibes. Man, you know, Conjure Queen, it's been a journey. And you know, of course, all the things that are going on. Let's start, since your first time on my show. Let's start with your history and before you got into this. Why before Conjure Queen get into this? What type of person was Conjure Queen before she even got into spirituality? Because there's always a walk before they start to do what we do. Go ahead, talk about it, please.
I mean, it's an interesting journey, but I would say that I've always kind of been very similar to how I am now. Like, I've always had an interest in the occult, into spirituality, into the unseen and the hidden. And because I pretty much was raised in a family of, you know, hardcore Christians, Black people from the South, like, you know, I always had questions. And I feel like the church and certain members of certain relatives weren't able to answer these questions. So I started to dig deeper, going down that rabbit hole and finding like all of these different puzzle pieces. Like, it started with the Illuminati videos, and then I started to dig deep into symbolisms and understanding them, learning that certain symbols is like access. It helps us access certain ancestral DNA codes, like activating those memories and activating our power. And I teach a lot about that, like teaching our teaching my supporters about how to tap into your power, how to access that ancestral DNA, and how to utilize that in a practical way so that way you can become your better self. So to answer the question, I feel like you know, it's when people ask me that question, it's like, how did I get started? It's like, we're always on a journey. But
Right.
I think it's like when I made the choice to come out and speak about my spiritual journey and stuff like that. Because King Simon, this journey to consciousness, to
Oof,
self is
yes.
lonely. And
Yes,
it's
it
like
is.
a lot of people don't want to have these convos, especially like if you're the black sheep of the family. So it's like,
Yes.
who do you really talk to when you're going through these ascension symptoms, when
That's
you're
true.
going through the dark night of the soul, when you're going through all of these spiritual experiences that normal people don't know what you're talking about and they think you're crazy. So that's why I started my platform, because I'm like, nah, like I can't be the only person experiencing this. I can't be the only person that's having these epiphanies and wanting to just talk about it. So that's how my YouTube channel got started back in 2015, just expressing myself and pretty much being transparent about my journey. And so many people, I've learned that there's more people like that out here that want that connection, that community, and to feel like they belong.
Now, what's so interesting? Thank you very much for that answer. That was very good. I love that. I love that. I love that. Of course, I got my bells and whistles here. This is a different show. It's a different show. What's so interesting about that is because we come from a predominantly Christian background. Mine's from the Caribbean, yours from down in the southern areas, and to come see the similarity of that. But could it be that some people in your family was hiding behind their psychic powers or their energy behind Christianity, or kept it close?
Definitely.
Please talk about that. Anyone in your family, your mother, your father, who you could see in their blood, in your bloodline?
Well, interestingly enough, I come from both of my lines. My mother and my father's side are very powerful, very spiritual people. I would say that my grandmother was very spiritual, very powerful, and I got a lot of my psychic gifts from her. Because I do believe that certain gifts are passed down, through bloodline. And even like when we do history and understand how the Native American or the indigenous American women would understand like what tribe you came from, who is your family, they would ask you first like, who is your mother, because the mother would pass down certain genes and psychic abilities to their children. And so my grandmother passed down the gift to my grandmother was born with a veil, so she was already tapped in spiritually.
Somebody just said that to me. I was born, my grandmother told the spiritual person that was reading me that I was born with a veil. I was like, what? I didn't even know that. Nobody said that to me. What does that mean from your perspective?
What I've been told is that people who are born with a veil, it's like they're born with their eyes pretty much open. It's like everybody else is kind of their eyes are protected from the spiritual world, I guess you would say. Like there's a veil to protect you, but people who are born with the veil already on them, it's just kind of like once that veil gets pulled back, their eyes is open. Like they can see beyond what everybody else can see. And that's exactly what my grandmother could do. Like she knew things before they happened. She would dream them and it would happen exactly like she dreamed them. And I remember like I used to have dreams too. And I'd be like, wow, I dreamt this would happen. And my grandmother was like, yeah, like that means that it's going to manifest. Like, be careful what you say, pay attention to your dreams. Like she was teaching me when I was young, but more from like a Christian mindset.
Of course. Because sometimes we need to code it because people around you might not understand what it is and what it should be. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that. Now, your grandma's birthday. You remember her birthday? What was her birthday? You remember?
My grandmother's birthday. She's a 6, like me.
Oh, really? Okay. Which month or day?
24th of December.
Oh, she was the 24th of December. Wow, she was the 24th of December. She born the same day as Lee Daniels. Wow, the director. Very deeply intuitive, very in tune, says what she means and means what she says. So that's deep. Wow, powerful. Definitely. That's powerful. And going into that, because I mentioned the family, because a lot of us, our family kind of hindered a lot of our powers, but I'm glad that your grandmother was showing certain things and certain signs to you to make you aware of what's going on and how things are, But moving on, when you was a child, how did some of these gifts showed up? How did they show themselves to you as a child? Even if you was, yeah, like I want people to understand that there's people out there that goes through the same thing or similar events. Please.
Well, first of all, I would just say that you never really know that something is strange until you
Mm.
have the discussion with somebody else, right? So let's say, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, if you were young and you were always used to seeing spiritual figures or seeing um, orbs, seeing things like glimpses, knowing things without really
Mm-hmm.
fully understanding how, right? It's like you think that's normal. You think
Yeah.
everybody can do that until you start to get into, I guess, have friendships and talk to people and say, hey, did you ever used to have like those dreams where it's like, you're dreaming? And they'd be like, what is that? And I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
when I was young. I'm like, okay, I guess not. Like when I was young, I used to astral project and lucid dream all the time at will.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I was like a master at it. I would go to bed, be like, all right, tonight I feel like dreaming about this, right? Like I feel like
Mm.
going over here.
Right.
And so and
You
so
was
one
flying in your dreams too. You was flying too, right?
yes, I was doing
Yes.
everything.
Yeah,
Flying was
flying
my
was
favorite
my
thing to do
thing. My
though.
flying was my thing. Yeah, that's my
I
thing.
think I went. Have you ever seen that movie Insidious?
Of course. Stop playing. I have it right
Okay,
here.
that is based on a true story, and that's why when
Yes.
I seen that, it brought back like somewhat
Mm.
PTSD or memories that I must have suppressed because
Right.
that entity that I saw in it, like why, like I got like chills. I'm like, yo, I feel like when I was younger, I went to a place where I wasn't supposed to go. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people do that when they're in the spiritual journey when they're young and they don't have the
Yes.
training of how to
Yes.
properly astral project because
Yeah.
sometimes you can go to places that are beyond your skill and
Yep.
there's entities there that will snatch you. That's why a
Yes.
lot of we hear about like crypt deaths and like sudden deaths.
Yes.
We
Yes.
start astral projecting when we're babies, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
so these entities feed off of the innocent children. They feed
Yes.
off of that. They
Yes, they
take
do.
the soul. Like body snatchers is a very real thing. And I had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of those experiences when I was little, but I didn't know who to speak about it to. When I talked about it, people was like, oh, it was just a nightmare. It was just a dream. And you really gotta
Mm-hmm.
get deeper than that, you know?
No, yeah, that's interesting because same way. I mean, I used to have dreams like if I was in America, I would fly to Jamaica. And I remember the pole because I always was this pole with a light was always very interesting to me. So I remember exactly where I flew from. And I
Mm,
always left from America, went to that pole, and I flew on top of the pole just to sit on it and perch to watch that street in Spanish Town in Jamaica, right there off not too far. People will know Spanish Town. That's right, not too far from. It's on. It was called King Street, right, not too far from Spanish Town Hospital and Prison Oval, where Marcus Garvey was held. A lot of people don't know that history. Marcus Garvey was held there in prison for that long, and I used to fly there when I
mm,
was younger. So, and it's so interesting that you talk about flying in your dreams. I even did an underwater thing, underwater dream. Like before Alchemist, before seeing Alchemist, I was doing underwater dreams. But I got scared because I thought I would drown because of water. I was there and I was underwater, seeing these things underwater, and I started breathing and started thinking human again, and I woke
mm.
up. So we got to be very careful even doing
Yo,
that. So,
always
so
careful,
that's
guard your
powerful.
energy. And that's why I talk about that a lot, like on my platform when people ask like
Mm,
where should they start, like when it comes to this magical journey or spiritual
yes.
journey. And I feel like the more conscious you become, the more brighter your light. So you have to learn how to protect your energy because there are entities in the astral realms and other dimensions that can see your light the more you unravel spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's not enough talk about like how to protect yourself, how to know when you're under psychic attack, how to know
Mm-hmm.
the difference between trickster spirits and when you're really talking to your ancestors or a spirit guide, because those trickster spirits definitely do be seize in the moment, and they pretty much like they taunt the newbies the most, like people who don't know what
Mm-hmm.
they're doing, the inexperienced.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that do happen where entities can creep in and sabotage. And meanwhile, you think you're talking to your grandma, or your dead auntie or uncle, and it's really a trickster spirit fooling you. So I teach a
Mm-hmm.
lot about this in my
Your classes.
ancestral veneration class. And I
Mm-hmm.
teach people like how to work with the dead, how to work with their ancestors, how to get the results that they need, and also how to banish these, false gods, false
Mm-hmm.
angels, fake entities that are trying to
Mm-hmm.
portray themselves as something they're not.
Everybody get that a round of applause, family. As a matter of fact, make sure you go to our website, www.iamconjurequeen.com. That's iamconjurequeen.com. Remember, you can spread love. Bop, bop, up. That's Cash App, $ Conjure Queen, all day, every day. You know how we do it, and we keep it moving on this channel. Now, the topic today is actually spiritual contracts and the healing process. Now, would you say that we have a spiritual contract with all of our ancestors from the past, and if some of them was not good or wasn't positive, so to speak, or was disagreeable, can we break some of those contracts? Let's talk about that, please.
So I'm happy that we're talking about this conversation because I've noticed that in the spiritual community and in the internet community, period, because there's so much information. There's some people that's talking about they don't believe in contracts, right? Like there's no such thing as no contracts. And then there's other people that's saying like, well, every time we engage with somebody, we make a unspoken contract or a tie, energetic entanglement. I personally feel like it depends on the level of intimacy and closeness and bond that you formed with that person, right? Because there could be people that we just greet and say hello to on the street, but we may have had some type of an interaction with them, but would it technically be considered a bond, right? And then we got to also think that would be very, what's the word I'm looking for? It would just be very overwhelming if every single soul that we connected with in every single life, because we have eternal spirits that's always traveling through space and time, it would be overwhelming psychically, spiritually, mentally to detach all of those people. So what I do think is that for the lessons that we haven't fully transcended or evolved through or learned, those are the bonds or the attachments that are still tied to you because there's still something there energetically that you have not worked through. And that's the same issue why you came back into Earth, because it's saying, hey, listen, you didn't get it right last lifetime. So here's your umpteenth time to do it again, right? And I think people get stuck here in this karmic cycle because when they do pass on, there's still that ounce of, I wonder if I could have done things differently, right? Or you know what? I'm still attached. Like I got children here and I want to watch over them, make sure that they're good, right? Or even have a resentment. Holding on to grudges can also hold you here in this realm or want to come back. So you really have to, like the Buddhists say, and a lot of other spiritual practices, learn the art of detachment. Understand like when it's an unhealthy attachment, because I do believe in healthy attachments.
Okay, yeah. No, I get that. No, I believe in healthy attachments too, because I remember a leader speaking about that, about disagreeable ancestors attaching themselves to you. And they can do that. Some of them, you might find yourself drinking and smoking just like your great granddaddy, or drinking and smoking. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or you trip and you bust your leg. You falling and tripping just like them. One of the books I remember, I think Bobby Hemmett was speaking about. This was a good book here that I got here called Spiritual Cleansing and Psychic Defense. Very good book if you get a chance, family. Robert Loremi. Yeah, so if you get a chance, family, get that book. It's a very good book to have. And but what about the people, my dear, that says not only do they don't believe it, they don't want to be attached to that type of knowledge about contracts like that, because if you don't believe in a thing, thoughts are things, you might not, it don't follow you. What do you say to people like that?
Well, this is the argument that I always give people who have this saying that if I don't believe it, it doesn't exist in my reality. Now, there's exceptions to that rule, because what you don't know, you're not aware about, right? But it doesn't mean that it can't affect you. Because at the end of the day, a person can sit here and say the universe is mental, all is mind. But you know what? If that's true, then that means that I don't believe in gravity. I don't believe in gravity. So in order for me to prove that gravity doesn't exist, I'm going to jump off this cliff right now. Now, if you jump off that cliff, if you don't believe in gravity, do you still feel like you'll be able to defy the laws of gravity because you don't believe in it? I don't think so.
Mm,
I think that you're going to
mm,
hit that concrete, and that's going to
mhm,
be the wake up call. So I think that we need to also use that same analogy when it comes to psychic attack. It's like you don't have to believe in it, but if somebody
mhm,
got beef with you and they want to send a demon or something to hurt you,
mhm.
best to believe by you not believing in it, your defenses are even more down. Get me?
Mhm.
Because you're not anticipating it. And
Right,
that's the best way to catch an enemy is off guard. So I
right,
teach
right.
all of this once again in protection classes, like learning this stuff. This stuff should be like the foundation before people start tapping into their ancestors, tapping into their spirit guides. Like you got to know how to protect yourself first and foremost.
And you heard what she said. She keep on emphasizing them classes, and yes, sir, they are online, family. You got to know where you're going. Do you know where you're going to? Do you like the things that life is showing you? Where are you going? You got to go to her website and see this stuff because she got a lot of good stuff on the website. Matter of fact, you can go to any of these events and services. Matter of fact, let me push a button on one of those. I might have to reshare the screen from another aspect because every time I see try to share it from there, it doesn't happen. But make sure you go to her website, IamConjureQueen.com. That's IamConjureQueen.com
Now,
because that's go ahead, sister. Talk to me. Talk.
sorry,
Go
go
ahead. What
ahead.
you gonna say?
Finish your promo. Finish your
Yeah,
promo.
yeah. Just want to make sure we promo what's going on and put this up in the screen. You know what I'm saying? Because you got classes that you are teaching and you are elevating and helping people with the classes. So people, go ahead and talk about what you was going to say, my beautiful sister. Go
I
ahead.
was going to tell people too that I have free information on my YouTube platform, right? Like it's
Yes.
not all about the money, and I don't want people to think that. Like
Right.
honestly, what it is there's a lot of information online, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's free information, but there's also information that I feel like we have to be cautious of what we provide to the public. And
Mm-hmm.
even though we're in this time of people say Aquarius, where everything hidden is being revealed, we still have to have some level of discretion of what we teach, right? Because if I'm teaching
Mm-hmm.
necromancy, and let's say a
Mm-hmm.
5-year-old or 8-year-old has access to that, now they're going to
Mm-hmm.
want to tap into these things, not really having the mental
Right.
fortitude to do this because
Right.
spirituality, one of the things that we learn is like you got to know yourself. You have to have an
Yes.
incredibly strong will, and if you have a weak will, if you don't know yourself, you're going to get pimped out in these spiritual streets by these spirits. You're going to get
Mm-hmm.
played. They're going to be raping you in your sleep. You're not going to have any boundaries. You're going to have like all types of psychological issues, and this is the reason why we see a lot of spiritual people losing their mind or going
Mm-hmm.
back to Jesus. And I get it. Like I respect everybody's spiritual journey. If you feel like this spiritual journey is not for you, you want to go back to Jesus, to Islam, to whatever you want to go to,
Mm-hmm.
granted, right?
That's what.
But you got to
Mm-hmm.
also understand that the reason why they go back is because that fear of what they
Yes.
see. The eyes get open. Things change when you tap
Yeah.
into the spiritual realm, and it's not a game.
That's right.
Like this is what I be like. People think it's trendy, but
Yeah.
it's like
Now.
okay, it's all trendy until you get a demon knocking at your door. You wake up with scratches on you, and now you crying because you
Mm-hmm.
don't know what to do.
Right. And you know that's I give a round of applause for that because it was you remember Jerry Miller and his wife we used to
Fabulous.
bring them in. We used to bring
Uh-huh.
them in, Sister Sandra. Same thing they would say, man. I remember one time we was at Dr. Delbert Blair's lecture and I had Jerry Miller opening up. And you know, Jerry Miller is one of those intuitive people. And he said, King Simon, there was people throwing spiritual arrows at you, but your aura and your energy field blocked it all off. It was like, I mean,
Mm,
and I was one of those people that, I like to move with the mic. I'm like a moving target. You ain't gonna hit me. And he
that's
said
right.
he's seen all of that, and that's when he gave me him and his wife gave me some spiritual a bath. What's so interesting about that? I went to Arizona and took the spiritual bath. Right,
Mm-hmm.
and that night I could not sleep. I kept on doing hiccups and hiccups. I drank something that was not good in
Mm-hmm.
Mexico, in Arizona, in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Almost died in my sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Almost died in my sleep. Matter of fact, this picture of this book. Hold on, This picture of this book was taken after I went through the experience on Mother. That was taken right after that.
Mm-hmm.
And my spirit, after I did the spiritual bath now, which they told me to, the spirit said, don't lay on your back, turn over and lay on your stomach. And that's when I felt whatever came out of me. And that's and I never forgot that. And that's I was so exhausted that whole night that I took this picture myself. I just had the camera and I had it set on 10 seconds. And I was so exhausted. I said, I got to take this picture. So I made it my book, New Motivation for Mental Stability. I made it the front page of my book because I know what I went through. And I wrote this book because two of my friends took their life. And I know people would have probably, if they would have found me in that hotel room in Phoenix, Arizona, that I probably had took my life in a hot when it wasn't like that. You know, that's what it would have went down in the newspaper when it was something that I drank. And whatever, you know, you got to be careful in drinking these places in Mexico or certain places. You got to be careful drinking water and all that stuff. It was crazy. And Phoenix is a part of Mexico. Please know this. Yep. And California and all those places and Texas. Please know that's what it was. Yep. So, and you matter of fact, you just coming out of a journey in Texas, Mexico. How was that? How was Mexico? How was Mexico?
Mexico is very spiritual. It's a very, very, very mystical place. And I definitely feel like you'll feel the portals there. And if you stay there long enough, because most people go to Mexico and they want to drink and party. So it's like you're intoxicated and your mind is not really able to tap into the higher consciousness. But if you go to Mexico and let's say, you know, you're going with a purpose, like you're going to elevate, you're going to connect with the spirits there, you're going to learn and touch like certain monuments to get the information. Right. When you go with that intention, it's like you'll get exactly what you're asking for. And that's what I went for. Like I went for the spirituality. Like I was so determined, King Simon. Like I went to the Botanicas. I missed the Botanicas there. They had like a big market, like bigger than Walmart, outside for like nothing but spiritual stuff. And that was like my favorite place. But they had like all of these books. And then I would like be like, okay, all of the books was in Spanish, but I'm like, I'm going to read these books. I'm going to learn Spanish and I want to figure out this stuff. Like I was determined, but I love Mexico. I would definitely go back again. I probably wouldn't live there long term. Just, I don't know, just because I need more variety in food.
Yeah, I know you need to keep moving. You know what that is.
The energy, maybe being sensual, wanting that, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean your life path is a central number, so is your personal number is a central number. So it is what it is. It's a magnet, so it magnetizes that, which is interesting. This brilliant lady, I remember back in the day, she was speaking Japanese. Don't let nobody fool you. This girl was speaking Japanese, so I know she said she kind of rusty. I don't want her to get into it.
I'm rusty now, but I gotta pick it back up because I feel like I was so good at it. And
yes, I remember. See, the only people who know you know that the Japanese was getting it in. So I said, and I remember telling you, you need to teach a Japanese class, yo. I will produce that type of event. I don't mind people learning languages because sometimes you have to learn these languages, either Chinese, Japanese, because everything made in goddamn China. You might as well learn to speak Mandarin or something like that. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? But getting back to the topic, family, we're talking about spiritual contracts and the healing process. Now, with somebody, with the one, the only, I am Conjure Queen, the one, the only. Make sure you go to our website and show us some love. And do remember, at the back of this is spread love, cash app. You got spread love with that cash app. Stop playing. Stop being cheap. And remember, it's all about circulation and not spending money. You're circulating so it can come back to you, like the great Reverend Ike used to teach on. That's my man. I still listen to Reverend Ike. You crazy? People don't understand. And once again, people, as you know, what I keep on scrolling on the bottom, but I'm going to put it right here in front of you so y'all will understand. Please thumb up, share, and like this broadcast to build the algorithms, because remember, sharing is caring. That's me. All right, that's how I deal with things out here. Now, getting back to the topic, now the contracts that we have laid throughout millennia, because a lot of us have come back here numerous times, of course. What's some of the process of healing, and how can people heal from what might be a disagreeable contract that they may have carried into this realm at this time, or into this reality at this time? How do they heal from that, from your perspective?
Okay, so one of the things that I always stress is shadow work, right? Like shadow work, basically, the simplest way to put it is like, it's going into those dark places in your mind that you don't like to visit. It's where our childhood traumas are. It's where our darkest fears are. And in order for us to heal, we have to be able to first look at these issues, right? Like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the times people like to escape from their problems. So they'll like drink it away, smoke it away, sex it away, eat it away, work it away, or try to work it away or do these things. But at the end of the day, it's like you'll always be right back with yourself to face these
Yes.
problems, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so shadow work is not more so about, and matter of fact, you know what? Since we're talking about healing,
Yes.
let's what does healing mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
when people think like, okay, I'm doing the self-healing work, like I'm healed, I'm done, I'm ready to go out into the world. What
Right.
I've learned on my own healing journey, and I'm still on a healing journey, like it
Yeah.
never stops.
Never
There is no
stops.
I'm
Yeah.
done, right? Like shadow
Exactly.
work is consistently going. As long as you're in a physical body, you're still working on these humanly things. You're still subjected to these human like issues and problems and challenges
Yeah.
that are presented before you so that you can elevate your spirit and your soul.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, 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 but you see, one thing I've learned over the years in my 56 young age, young age of years that I had the 5 and the 6. I'm 11 years old now. I'm in my second childhood. I'm good, and I
right.
tell people a lot of the formative years of education from your parents could have been very problematic and could have been one of those contracts that you have taken on from them, because you sometimes, like Panic would say, our first form of mind control is our mothers and our fathers, and those are our first form of mind controls.
Mm-hmm.
What do you suggest to the family out there raising children? And do you have any specific class for parents and children to talk to both of them at the same time, that are able to comprehend what you're saying so they can be guided at the same time with the parent while they're growing up? Because these are some new children coming out now. I'm telling you right now. They're new. I know they're new. They're new. They're
Okay,
new.
so I want to address that, but I also want to
Go
finish
ahead.
my thought on the last question before we transition for this new
Go ahead.
one. Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
let me just hold that in my mind. But before we transition, I wanted to say that
Mhm.
because I got sidetracked too.
Okay.
Healing, we got to ask ourselves, what is it, right? Because when we think
Mhm.
about healing, we think that it's gone, the issue is
Mhm.
gone. I'm going to
Mhm.
explain to everybody in here, you might be disappointed, but it's like, yo, if you have something so deeply embedded in your subconscious mind and your psyche, it doesn't really go away, right? Because
Mhm.
what is away? Where
That's
is
right.
that? Where do we put
Exactly.
it,
That's
right?
right.
Like
That's
there's no
right.
such thing as a way.
That's right.
It's always going to be stored somewhere in your mind or have a scar somewhere on your mind. But the issue, the main key with healing just simply means, doesn't mean that the issue goes away. It means that you're aware of it and you're no longer allowing this wound to control your life. Now you're
Mm.
aware. Now you no longer react, but you respond. Now you're conscious and you can see things now more clearly, because imagine everybody in here that's watching, right?
Right.
You're way more evolved than you were 10 years ago, I would hope.
Yes.
Like I would
Yes.
hope everybody in here is more evolved than they was 10 years ago. Now ask
Mhm.
yourself, think about any of the toughest situations that you're possibly going through right now.
Mhm.
And sometimes we don't realize how much we're growing until we can think back, like, what would my younger self do in this situation, right? Like
Mhm.
possibly not even be aware, like, oh, this is a trigger, right?
Right.
It's like
Right.
when you do the healing, you're like, wait a minute, hold on, this person is triggering me right now. It's not
Mhm.
that the person is irritating me. It's something that they're saying that's
Mm.
triggering something inside of me. So it's not them. They're just like the catalyst
Yes,
that's
the capitalist. Right.
activating
Right.
that.
Right. Right.
They're put before me so as a mirror, a reflection, so I can look back at myself.
Right. Right.
And I feel like you'll learn these hardest lessons when you're in a relationship or you're married or you're with somebody. Because I
Mhm.
feel like the problem here is people think that I need to spend time alone. I need to be single. I need to focus on myself.
Mhm.
But then it's like, okay, now when you try to go back into the world, go socialize again, go dating again, get into a relationship, those old issues resurface again. So
Mhm.
I honestly feel like the real challenge is to go through your healing journey um, while you're still interacting with people, while you're still doing your daily day activities, because that's the true test, right?
Mm.
Being
Yes.
in the mud and still being aware, like, shit, like I'm healing, but I still gotta push through. And taking time out for yourself is cool, but don't isolate completely, because it's like once you go back into that world, you might forget everything that you learned while you were solo. Get me? That's why
Yeah,
we always go back to square one again, because we're doing the same things. It's the
yeah,
same cycle. So
right.
try to do things differently.
Makes sense because doing something, trying to do something over and over again, trying to get a different result is called insanity. Don't make
Humanity.
no damn sense. Not to me, at least. Family, you could also go to my link tree, King Simon link tree,
So yeah,
link tree
that
/
was
King
pretty much what I
Simon, the
was
numerator.
looking for.
Yeah, but now I was talking about if you have any classes for parents and children that might, because there are new children out there now. There's new, I mean, new spiritually understanding children. What do you say about that? And how do you have any classes for them
Hmm.
like that?
I don't
Again,
have any classes specifically just for
okay.
children yet,
Okay.
but that is definitely something that
Yeah.
I can think about.
Yeah,
I can.
parents and children, like, because you're born under the sixth energy, and that deals with family. So once you pull in that family, now you can draw them right in, family and children, because you have children gravitate towards you. You know that. You
They
know, come on.
do. They
I
do. You
know.
know what? That's crazy, because me and my homegirl was just talking today, and she just came out and it was telling me, like, you have this energy about children. You're gonna work with children. I'm like,
Mhm.
I feel
Oh
it.
yeah, it's
I
all a
feel it.
part of your numbers. To tell you the truth, I mean, it's easy to do it, because y'all seem to pull them in, and I've seen people connected to that six energy or that 15 energy or that 24 energy.
Hmm.
My former wife, she was born on the 6th of February. Children, they just come around her, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Bob Marley, pull them in. Children, he had so many of them, they will still come around him. So you know what I'm saying. And I know I have six in my name. I know I have a lot of them children, but it's what it is. But and I think that's another level of where you need to go, because these new children are going through depression. They're going through psychic attacks. And some of them don't want to say nothing to the children. That's nothing to their parents, because they might think their parents don't understand. Like I said, when I was going through it as a child,
Mhm.
I almost took my life at 8 years old because I didn't
Yeah.
understand.
It's
I didn't
scary.
understand why people hated me or why people hated my complexion, all that kind of stuff. But then I was having dreams and having these different astro traveling dreams at 8 or 7 and 6. And I didn't understand to tell them, like, yo, I better not tell them this this type of stuff. They might disown me. That's what you have, that type of fear of a child. So I think you would, that was another way. And I'm waiting for your book to come out. I don't know why you playing with this book.
I'm telling my dad. My dad been saying that for the longest. He's like, you need to write a book.
You
You need to write
do.
a book. He be watching my videos. He's like, you know what? You need to write a book. Say, you need to write a book. So I'm receiving this.
But your life path is a five, so it's supposed to have a book. You're supposed to write. Let it out, girl. Stop playing. I mean,
I
it's
know.
generational wealth, but it's something that deals with that you have to let it out from your perspective, and it's going to turn into an audio book. It might even turn into a damn movie. Knowing you, it
Yeah.
might be a damn Kevin Hart doing it. Y'all born the same day. Kevin Hart, 50 Cent doing it in their own way.
Yeah.
Do it. Why not? It's the female energy that's time to like show itself like hard
Mhm.
now. It's time.
I
So
received all of this, and
I'm
I'm stepping into my power. Like right now, like I said, everything is happening as it should be, and I'm
yeah,
also in a space now where I'm stepping more into my feminine energy, and I'm
right.
trusting that what's for me is coming to me. I don't chase, I attract, and I
There
know
it is.
that what's meant for me is always gonna come. Like, you get me? Like, I have this confidence now. I don't feel like I need to pursue these things. When it's ready, when it's the time is right for me to write this book, like the
Right.
idea is gonna come to me and it's gonna happen
Exactly.
naturally.
And and I talk about the law of attraction. That I tell people, if you're going to attract something, make sure you have the environment to accept what you attract. It
Yes.
has to be ready. You got to have. You can't. It's just like a bird can't have any birds, other birds or little chicks without having their nest ready. That's why they always prepare their nests to put
That is a whole fact, and I'm glad you mentioned that.
Go
And I'm
ahead.
still going to answer the question about the family and children, but you know, um,
You've done. Mhm.
people people think that, talking about the law of attraction, people
Yes.
want something, right? They're like, I want my man, I want my wife, I want this business, I want this money, I want X, Y, and Z. But
Right.
it's like, how is your energy showing up for the things that you're asking for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we think that we're ready for a healthy relationship, but what if spirit brings a healthy partner to you, but you still have these toxic ways about yourself that you haven't healed yet? You're going to sabotage that. Like
Yep.
some people don't even know their own love languages. They don't know how to communicate in love. They don't know how to receive love. Some people's heart chakras is closed off. So they think that they want love, but they only want love in the toxic form or the limited form of love that they're used to.
That part.
Right? So like King Simon said, before you ask for anything, make sure that you're ready to receive that.
That is the truth. And you know, funny thing that you just said that, because I remember a friend asking a friend some years ago, asking a friend and saying, you know, if I was not into this realm or doing what I was doing back in those days, would you marry me? Then she, you know, this is the second time I heard it. Another, she said, "Would you marry you?" That's how, when you in that club and that craziness and all that, would you marry you? And you know, you have to answer, you have to give those. And then I heard it again, and I said, now I would marry me now than marry me back when I was in Temptations and running SOBs. And no, that's how I had all these children. That's what I was womanizing. I followed my father and his craziness, so I know what it is. Like I tell people, I was born in a nightclub. I born watching the year I was born. My father opened up a nightclub, so I was in it. From the, you know, you when your father was proud of your first son and you carrying him down to the club just to show him off to children. That's what he did. He showed me off in the club. You know what I'm saying? And so I know I wouldn't marry me back in the club days. I would marry me now, but not back in the club days. Lord have mercy. And and sabotage is very real, because I have sabotaged relationship in the name of being my Aquarius self, trying to be free. Free, like,
detached, right?
Detached. Yo, why you playing? You know, why you trying to lock me down, son? Don't try to lock me down. I'm an air sign. I need to breathe.
So let me ask that question now, right? Because I feel like that's a big theme, especially with like melanated men, like, you know, in our community, that detach. It's like that when they catch feelings or they grow love, it's like they freeze up. It's like you have that love, you know that the love is there, but as a man, can you tell us, and also probably for the women in here, like, why do men do that? Why, like, since you're healed now, right?
I'm still healing. Still healing. I'm still healing.
That's what I'm saying, but you're healing.
Right.
But you're in a better space, like you said, from how you used to be before. So how did you transition more so from like that space of, I don't really want to attach, you trying to lock me down, to being more in a space like, okay, that mindset was unhealthy. Now I know how to implement these tools here.
You know, it makes a lot of sense. It still takes the work, like most of us say. It takes work on yourself. And now I am, through, you know, learning from people like Dr. B. Sirius, who says, you know, it's time to turn the work into play. I turn it into plurk. I want to plurk it. I want to make sure I'm playing while I'm working, not twerking. I'll get y'all little minds out of this. But I'm talking about, you know, playing into your work, because once you play your work, that means it will never be labor to you. It'd be something helpful. So shadow work can be played with also, plurked with also, because you got to enjoy the shadow side in order for you to recognize the light. And still, I know I can go down that negative of sabotaging, but like Ian Levon Zant and Dr. What's the name? A.R. Bernard from CCC said, he said, we got to learn to manage our weaknesses and strengthen our strength. Because most of the sisters that I've dealt with, they can tell you that I'm very attentive, but when I need to close my, you know, I think sisters need to learn how to give people space and not be a clingy type of person with somebody like me. You can't cling to me like that. No, I'm not a clinger, because I'm not clinging on to you. I'm showing you attentive respect and love, because now I need to find, I just learned the word empathy at the age of 40. How to recognize and be in somebody else's shoes. And thanks to another Cancer, she told me that. She said, Simon, because Cancer is my Jupiter in astrology. It's my Jupiter, so it helps me to expand myself. And so, you know, that's one of my Jupiter. My both my grandmothers was Cancers. My favorite cousin in Canada, Cancer. So understanding, I listened to her because that made a lot of sense. And when I did unpack the word empathy, I said, "Oh, being in somebody else's shoes." And
Mm-hmm.
and because I was playing the fence with the club life, and remember I used to produce lectures in the nightclub at Temptations. People don't remember I used to produce. I put the Polite in there. I put Taj Tariq Bey in there. I put Abundance Child in Temptations. At a nightclub, and then I'll be back in the club partying and emceeing the party and doing my thing with women. I'm trying to be conscious, but yet I'm having fun. But and conscious don't let people don't mean that conscious people that can't have fun. But when I was in that life, that's a whole different life. I'm telling y'all that. But
A different
but
type
thank
of
you for that question, because it's really about the continual work. It, like Professor Griff would say, it is not it's not an event. It's a process. It's not an event. It's a process.
Mm.
So even when dealing with beautiful sisters in the modeling agency, I've dealt with all types of women. Just what and then having a modeling agency myself, I used to study them, and they used to come to me and ask me all kinds of questions on how to work with their man and all that. I've booked strippers and all that kind of stuff back in my day, and that's another shadow life that I had. That was a shadow life, and
Mm.
in that shadow life, Conjure Queen, how many people are going through it in that shadow life. That's a shadow world. The club life is a shadow world. Those who know the
Man.
club and been to those clubs and everybody turned up. There's much more things going on in the part than just partying. I
Mm-hmm.
felt I felt the energy. I've been in the room and felt the Kundalini energy in the party, but it was a misused Kundalini energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood it. I said, damn, this is crazy. And I used to have walkthroughs. When your body starts shaking, they come.
Oh, the chills,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, them chills. They're like, yo, and they call it walkthroughs. Like, yo, somebody. And every
Mm.
time I got a walkthrough in a nightclub, I'll move from that area. And without a doubt, something happens in that area. Something takes place, like a fight or somebody, arguing. I would always move. So, there's a lot of things that we as brothers have to learn to open up, as far as using our feminine energy to open up, not becoming the female, but
Mm.
understanding, finding the balance within us. And that's where I think I'm more comfortable at now. But mind you, I still get my triggers. There's still triggers because it comes from what happened in the family, all that family
Mhm.
stuff. So I'm still healing from
Root
mom and dad
chakra.
stuff. Say it
Mm-hmm. That
again.
root
That
chakra
root
healing,
chakra.
our roots, what
Root.
makes us feel stable and safe. And I
Exactly.
feel like a lot of
Exactly.
us are still like stuck in the root chakra, and we can't even get to the sacral, to the solar, to the heart, because we're still in the base level issues. You know what I mean?
That's
The
right.
good thing is we're evolving. And like you said, these babies that's coming in, they're the healers, they're the teachers, like they're the ones that's really going to bring light and shed light on all of the darkness, so that way we can really see the hidden issues that has been
Yes.
plaguing us for generations.
That's right. But now let me ask you a question. Now the people that are just tuning in, we're here with the one, the only Conjure Queen to be a queen to last forever. Let me stop.
Yeah,
I can,
it's funny.
people forget I can sing now. Stop playing. Uh,
I'm
um,
playing.
and that's where my son got it from, and him and his mama. They got singing from. So let me ask you a question. Would, would
Yes.
would the young people, again, going back to the young people, because it looked like it stems from right there. Even whatever Rick James and all these celebrities went through, it started from young. Because when you look back in their life, you see that there was young trauma that went on, young drama that went on, things that they compartmentalized and they brought it out as a red flag in relationships, or how they did with marriage, how they did with things. What is some of the mechanism that we can use for our children, especially when the ones that are grown, they don't want to speak to you as much, or they still holding on to stuff and they don't want to hear your story. They rather stay in their story, and sometimes it seems like it's a little narcissistic because they only care about themselves and nobody, and not what I have to say or what that parent have to say. How do you deal with those type of people from a spiritual perspective, Contra?
How do you deal? So the question is, how do you deal with like difficult teenagers or
Yeah,
rebellious
difficult teacher, yeah,
kids who don't want
rebellion
to
and all that
listen?
kind of stuff. Yeah, that's one of them.
Well, it's interesting because when you study the tarot, it talks about that. It talks about how like when
Mm-hmm.
we go into our adolescence, it's a rites of passage. Like our ancestors used to perform rituals when we reach certain ages and stuff like that. So that way we can understand like the power of rites of passage rituals.
Right.
And so because we don't have those anymore, sometimes we can get lost and not really understanding why our bodies are going through certain changes, while our ideas and our mind is shifting. Like when you're shifting into adolescence, you are becoming your own soul, your own essence,
Mm.
your own being. This is when you're breaking free from the stigmas and the projections that your family has projected onto you. You're
Mm.
becoming your own person. And this is like an internal battle that's always happening. That's why a lot of teenagers are moody and they got the mood swings and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like at that time when they're rebelling, not to take it personal, because let's be real, these
Yeah.
kids that's coming in now, like you can't treat them like, they're the kids that was coming out back in like the 70s or the
Right. That's right.
60s.
Like me. Yeah. Me. Yes. Me.
But your generation, but we got to understand too, like back then, like that generation was taught that kids are meant to be seen, not heard,
That's
right?
right. That's
Like
right.
kids didn't really have as much respect. And back then, it's like you could smack your kid up in public, the teacher could smack your kid up, and then
That's
nothing
right.
would happen. They'll just tell you your kid was being bad, right?
That's
That was
right.
okay then.
That was
But
okay.
now times are shifting now where these kids are rebellious and they're talking back and they're asking questions. They're like, why do I have to, why do I have to respect you if you don't respect me?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because
Mm-hmm.
you're my parent? Like they're
Mm-hmm.
having sound arguments. And I understand how frustrating that could be for a parent, because it's like my child is talking back to me. I want them to listen to me and submit to me. But you got to realize that you don't own your children. They're not
Mm-hmm.
property. They are
Right.
their own sovereign beings. And as soon as
Mm-hmm.
you remember that you are just a vessel, they chose you to be a vessel to come through, because 9 times out of 10, your children will be your teachers, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What you give birth to, what you reproduce is always supposed to be better and more improved than the latter,
Mm.
right? So it's
That's
like a
right.
you, but a
That's
2.0,
right. That's
better,
right. That's
where
right.
it's like, they abstracted the good and bad qualities, but they're more advanced and better, supposed to be better than you.
Mm. That's right. No, no, no. Makes sense. Yeah.
That's
Because
so that's why they are going to challenge you and they are going to ask you questions and they are going to say, if you, let's say, and let's just put this in there. Let's say, for instance, everybody in here is spiritual, right? What if
mm-hmm.
you had children and your kids is like, Mom, Dad, I don't want to do this spiritual stuff. I want to go to Jesus. Like I want to do this religion thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
even though that might not be what you had in mind for your children,
Mm-hmm.
if they decide they need that journey for them to grow,
That's
who are
right.
you to stop them?
That's right.
Because all
That's
it's
right.
going to do is go against you. So honestly, I feel like from a spiritual perspective, I think
Mm-hmm.
that we need to respect everybody's spiritual journey, like not just your children, but also your partners too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Giving grace to our parents, because some people are angry with their parents, but it's like you got to realize they was doing the best that they knew.
That's right. That's right. No, no. I was angry at my mother and father for a long time, and I remember at 15. I remember 15 or 16, I went to my aunt and said, did my mother and father love me? Because she was the closest person to them. She said, and being the loving aunt that she is on my father's side, she said, of
Mhm.
course they did. But when sitting down at in my 20s or going into my 30s with my mother, father, and my sister and I sitting down, they said straight up, yo, we was raising children hands on. We didn't know how to raise y'all. We was abandoned also by my mother being abandoned by her mother, and my father being abandoned by his father. Everybody was hands on learning how to take care of children. So they
Mhm.
didn't know, so that when you go back to that, and then it affects if this, and because especially in the Caribbean family, they like to keep secrets. I do not keep secrets from my children. If they ask me the question, even if they ask me about their mama or what type of person, well, guess what? I'm telling the secret. That's it. If you ask me, I'm gonna tell the secret because that's just me. Because I knew what it did for me to find out the secrets later after
Mhm.
somebody's dead or somebody is this and this person did this molestation thing and this crazy,
Yep.
all of that kind of stuff. So it's rough. I remember, and I'm gonna just end at this here because I remember finding out something about one of my relatives, and it wasn't good in my ears. But I'm a certain person that used to give and bring the slippers to this person while I was a child so they can put on the slippers on their shoe. But he was doing this to one of my family members. After he dead, we're going to find this out. Really?
Mhm.
I'm grown now, but he's been dead since 77. But that it didn't
It
pan
messes
out to
with
me.
you. Mhm.
It messed with my head, because I've always been very protective of my women. That's why a lot of the women in my family, they will never tell me that they went through some boyfriend stuff and all that kind of thing. Because I'm that type of person that will put a knife in my mouth and come up under the car. You never know it was me. I'm in and out because
Oh.
I do my own dirt by myself. I'm not into a bunch of people and I'm not a bad man, but if it comes to protecting women and especially my family, I went to jail for fighting off 7 police officers for my mother years ago. So I
Mm,
know, and I'm here because the
nice.
spirit was rolling with me. So this is that stuff is deep. That's why it's so
Hmm.
important to work on them children to help get to those children. Children are the future, but also parents and how they thinking will help foster the future to become even better. Even if you let them be themselves, you can beat them, let them be themselves, and they can come back to us as the prodigal daughter or son and find out certain information. But at the end of the day, let them walk. They walk. You're absolutely right. Let them walk. They walk. And I tell that to my children.
Hmm.
Be them. Be who you are. But if you want that wisdom and want to respect my side of what I went through, then you can hear what I said, so you'll know not to do it to your child when you grow up. Because it skip
Hmm.
generation. These things can skip generation and come right back to
Yep.
you. You know,
Hmm.
you know
Very
what I'm
true.
saying. You know what I'm
Very
saying.
true.
Our family, we here with the Conjure Queen in the building, yo. If you have any questions, I'm gonna just take a few questions for Conjure Queens for Conjure Queen, if you want to have any questions, real quick before we close out, if you have any questions, I'm allowing questions to get in the chat right now. A lot of mercy right now. Put this in the chat right now. We want to see the chat pop up. Write your question. Please, write one question in the chat. Please write one question, and then I don't keep people on for too long. I don't do 3 hours and all that. We got her only for an hour. I just finished doing another show. I see somebody putting up something. Let me see if somebody put something up. Somebody putting up a birthday. I'm not doing birthdays right now. Stop playing.
Ah,
Stop playing. Again,
people love readings.
they want
They
these things.
love
I'm not
readings.
doing any numbers. This is not what this is. This is Wakanda Queen. She's not, and she did take a numerology class, so I should make her drop some numbers on your ass real quick. She did take. I was there when she took it. And this is how long was that? What year was that when we did that? You did that at
I don't know. That was a long time
City
ago.
College, City College with Lloyd Strayhorn. You think I forgot?
Hmm.
I've seen you in the
That was a
class.
long time ago.
Yeah, but Conjure Queen, first and foremost, back to her website. Let's go back to her website because I want people to know that we got to get it in her website. We ain't doing no numbers. Y'all better pay for a session with me. Look here, don't play with me. I'm not one of those people. I teach all the time for free. So now it's time for you to
Exactly.
spread love, spread the love, family. Now, Conjure Queen got all these classes, but she also do free content on her YouTube channel. You can go to her website and click on her YouTube channel right there. You can click and it'll take you straight to the YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel is what? I am Conjure Queen or Conjure Queen?
It's Conjure Queen, but it's the same thing. I'll pop up.
Right. So
Yeah, and also the website, it has all my other handles as well, like
yes.
Instagram when I'm not posting on YouTube, and
Mm-hmm.
my podcast, like a whole bunch of other things that I do. And sometimes, I don't really broadcast or promote a lot of stuff like on social media. So like if you want to get like access to our occult book club membership, Facebook group, private group, then you have to subscribe to the email
Of
listing because
course.
that's the only way I really share that information.
Of course. Somebody just asked, what rites of passage do you suggest for teens? Very good
Well, for
question.
one, I know that when I have a daughter, I definitely want to throw her like a period party or like
Ooh.
a menstrual party, because I feel like imagine if we like if all of the women in our community, our families like came together and we had like a big party celebration when we got our first like
That's
menstrual
right.
cycle.
That's right.
Like it would take away like that stigma of dirtiness until like a honorary thing. It's like, wow, you're a woman now, and just having all of the women kind of sit her down and talk to her about, fertility, motherhood, dating. I feel like, I think that women should start teaching their daughters about how to properly date, how to have sex, how to do certain things. So that way, when your hormones, your body is going through these things, you don't got to figure it out on your own. At least you have like an older person that's guiding you and teaching you these sacred arts.
And that's funny that you said that because in Dr. Africa's Children book, he said women used to celebrate those things, being able to have children, that
Hmm.
period thing. And he said even before birth, the male family and the female family will not call it labor. It's a celebration when the child is about to come out. You're not supposed,
Yes.
if a drum's supposed to be beating, you're supposed to be in the water about to give birth, and
Yep.
drums, everything and it's a low light. It's not supposed to be all that extreme light, and it's supposed
Or
to be low candlelight.
fluorescent.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, and all
Wow.
of that is right. It's like all of our traditions, but we're getting back to that, and that's the beautiful thing. Like if people
Yes.
haven't seen like Western medicine, like the hospitals, people are not trusting that anymore. People are like I'm not having my baby in a hospital because
Yep.
babies are missing. Like all of these, like especially with melanated women, I feel like it's so much medical malpractice with us, and so many babies that get. I mean, I don't. Hopefully, trigger warning. But I remember I was on Instagram and it was saying how in Brazil, a woman was giving birth and the guy like ripped the head off of the baby during labor because it's like
It's crazy.
we need us like. I
Yeah.
just feel like it's like this
Wow.
insensitivity when it comes to Black women like giving birth. It's like, why do we hear all of these crazy stories? How do you rip a baby's head off while she's giving birth? Are you pulling it out, rushing?
Yeah,
Right? Like the
exactly.
birthing process is supposed to be patient, waiting, not the Western medicine where it's like, all right, how long has it been? All right, look, cut her open. We don't got time for this. We
Yeah,
got like a
exactly.
whole line of other pregnant women we got to pull
Hmm.
babies out of. And that's what it feels like. It's like a job. It's not an honor anymore to these doctors to bring life to this world.
But and that's interesting because you see that the mammals of the world go through ease. It comes, they squat, they do what they're supposed to do, and it comes
Mhm.
right out. You ain't got you going against the ground when you're lying them in the back. That's why the poor child is stuck. The woman can't really contract like she's supposed to in that position. So, whoa,
Mhm.
man. One more
Exactly.
question. Somebody just asked, how do we practice detachment? Woof. How do we practice
Um,
detachment? Lord have mercy.
Well, that's interesting. It depends because I feel like there's unhealthy detachment, kind of like what we were
Mhm.
discussing before. It's like when a person is
Exactly.
developing feelings and they decide they want to run because now it's like you're operating in fear instead of love. And
Mhm.
I feel as though healthy detachment is, let's say, for example, you have a friend and you and this friend, you guys are really close. Maybe y'all grew up together.
Mhm.
But you notice that the only way that you guys only really connect is when y'all build and talk about problems or issues or
Mm.
relationship baggage or money blocks. And it's like that's all you ever talk about. That's
Right.
really like trauma bonding.
That's right.
You
That's
feel
right.
me? Like
Mhm.
it's like there's really no strong connection here. And so it's like, how is this relationship helping me grow? Now I know I'm in a space where I'm spiritually evolving. This person's frequency is not matching mine anymore. That's why we don't really have much to talk about. That's why the energy doesn't feel regular. That's why I feel like I gotta be away from this person,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so it's like now healthy detachment is just loving yourself enough to know I don't want this in my space anymore. This is
Mm.
not
Mhm.
conducive to me. I need to remove myself. That
Right.
is healthy detachment. Knowing when to remove yourself instead of waiting for the opportunity for the problem to remove itself. Because
Mm.
how many of us raise our hands in the comments? Like, how many of us have stayed in situations or friendships, relationships, whatever, knowing that the time has expired, but we don't know how to detach because we have these unhealthy attachments, which I
Mhm.
would recommend everybody in here to research attachment styles. Do
Mm.
the quiz, take it. It takes 5 minutes so you can learn what your attachment style is. So that way you can figure out why you are the way you are in love. Are you an avoidant person or more of an anxious person, right? Avoidant people are those who try to run from love. They run from their feelings. As soon as they start falling in love, they're like, oh, I'm out. This is too clingy for me. I don't want to lose my identity. I can't do this. Anxious people are the opposite, where it's like, maybe they have certain abandonment issues and they feel like the slightest little shift of energy, maybe they probably didn't text them good morning today, or maybe they
Mm.
probably didn't call them during their work break. Like they start getting anxious. Like, why you
Mhm.
happening? Is he talking to somebody else? This is different. Like that's
Mhm.
anxious where you're leaning more into the love,
Yeah.
right? That's still unhealthy because it's
Yes.
from a place of neediness, right?
Mm.
Research the attachment styles. I know that's still dealing with help with healing and energy, like we was talking about today, and
Right.
detachment. So I hope that answered the question to whoever asked that, like how to detach in a healthy way.
Well, my sister, you did a wonderful job. I ain't holding you no longer. It is now 10:03, 10:03, 03,
It's been a
3 minutes
pleasure.
after the top of the hour all over the world. right here, all 196,940,000 square miles of the planet Earth. Thank you so much, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sister.
Thank
I
you for
still,
having me. It was
oh,
fun.
it was beautiful, sister, and we got to do it again sometime again, man. In fact, we got to do it on IG. You know what I'm saying? We got to rip up IG, right? And we do some spiritual numbers, and let's do some stuff. Let's tear that
That'd be
place up.
fun.
Oh, I'm gonna rip it up. We gonna have some fun ripping this place up.
I'm with it.
I do numerovation. I don't just do numerology. I do numerovation. We motivating people nowadays. So, but
Right.
I appreciate you so much, sister, and thank you once again
Thank
for
you for
coming on.
having me.
Family, please go to her website. IamConjureQueen.com. Please show her love. And remember, that Cash App is up there, man. Spread love up to my beautiful sister. And give love to the family, man. And if you're in Brooklyn, tell the Brooklyn family I said, what's up? All right.
Peace.
All right. Peace and love, sister. Take care. All right. Bye-bye. That's my girl, Conjure Queen, man. Yes. Man, like I told you, we got history. We got history. Oh man, we got history. We go back, man. She used to vend at my events. She had beautiful, beautiful products, man. She really puts her heart and soul into her products. I wish you'd bring out some of those products. I don't know if she might have it on her website, but please go to her website, IamConjureQueen.com. That's IamConjureQueen.com. Hit her up. Remember, she is the international public speaker, spiritual advisor, holistic healer, and Jejna. I forgot I should have changed it to Jejna, not mentor, Jejna, because we dealing with the holistic mindset of the guides and the accountable guides. I don't say mentor because it connects to that, abuse of children and pedophilia. So I don't use that word mentor at all. Remember, please thumb up, share, and like this broadcast to build the algorithms. Remember, sharing is caring. I am your brother, King Simon. Please support the channel, support the content that we are putting out. Remember, I don't put no drama, because if you're expecting drama, it ain't happening. I don't put drama on my channel. I don't put drama on none of my channel. Remember, please circulate funds to the platform via King Simon. That's scrolling on the bottom, King Simon 3158, or paypal.me/King Simon, or Super Chat. You can also support via Super Chat. Whatever you want to give for us via Super Chat, it's all going to a nice place. Remember, don't spend your money, circulate your money, and it will come back to you, like Reverend Ike, the late, great Reverend Ike, used to say. So we're getting ready to close out, family. Those who want to close out with me, you know what I'm going to do from now on. I'm just going to close directly out with the motivational stuff, and then I'll just remind everybody of all the stuff that's coming up. Remember, this coming Sunday, family, this is very important. This coming Sunday, we have the one, the only Tassili Ma'at coming in early in the morning at 10 a.m. in the morning. So I know those people overseas should enjoy this. Y'all will be up and about by that time. Let me see, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. It'll be 3 o'clock in the afternoon for the people in England and those kind of places. So yeah, at 10 a.m. it'll be 3 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon for them. So we're gonna enjoy this, family. Remember, Tassili Ma'at have a big thing coming up called the Wonderful Wizards of Raw. I may be one of the speakers. I think I'm going to be one of the speakers, either the 3rd or the 4th. We're going to have a good time. The great Mama Tassili will be here with me on that day, on that morning at 10 a.m., of course. And then that evening, we got Copper Vibration. Big up to Monye, of course, Essence. She's been watching. Denise, Renee, Muhammad, all of them on Facebook watching. Remember, big up to all of them. But we're going to have this beautiful couple, CQ and CK, in the building. The Copper King and the Copper Queen will be in the building at 8 p.m. that evening. I'm doing a doubleheader that day. And don't forget, on the 31st, we have this beautiful lady, Sonia Barrett. Whoa, if y'all don't know who Sonia Barrett is, she is just similar to Jewel Pookrum. Dr. Sonia Barrett will be in the building, PhD and neuroscientist. She's going to be breaking it down. And then later on that evening at 9:30, I'll be on Forbidden Knowledge podcast with the mental strategist, with the one, the only Kiki and Miss Ashford. I will be on there as a guest, breaking it down, having fun with the ladies. And remember, this program is sponsored in part by My Blue Lotus Travel. My Blue Lotus Travel. Big up to Katana Risden. My Blue Lotus Travel. We will be in there. We will be showing that love. Make sure you come on out and enjoy what this sister have to offer. Make sure you learn. All you have to learn how to own your own traveling business. And this sister can help you own your own travel business. Like I said before, people born under the numbers 5, 7, 3, and 9 definitely would do well in the travel. If you have a life pad number 5 or any one of those numbers, y'all would do very well in the traveling business. Okay, so try doing the travel business, especially going on the number. Also sponsored in part by the great Lloyd Strayhorn. Make sure you go to his website, lloyd-strayhorn.com. Remember 800-518-4401. World-renowned astronumerologist, one and the only Lloyd Strayhorn. Also sponsored by the Egg Bay Ancestral event happening in Delaware for 2 days at Drop Squad Kitchen on the 17th, and then on the 18th is going to be at Delaware Art Museum. I'm going to be MC for the 17th. I'm the Minister of Ceremonies on the 17th. So if you're in Wilmington, Delaware, I will be there having a good ass time. I'm telling you that right now. I'm gonna have a good ass time enjoying all the festivities beyond Juneteenth. And don't forget, Phil Valentine is going to be coming on our show on June the 11th, but he will be doing this big event and this webinar on June the 25th. Make sure you hit him up at the website and the number that's on there. And remember, if you're going to be in New Orleans, we will be in New Orleans. Myself, Jackie Levine, Nina Diamond, Aquarius Maximus, and Lloyd Strayhorn will be speaking at a retreat called the Circle of Cosmic Consciousness Retreat. 2-day numerology and cardology. We're even going to go to the grave sites, or we're going to go to Marie Laveau's house and all that. We're going to do little tours and all that stuff while you're learning and all that stuff. So we're going to have a good time. So make sure you come on out. Those in New York, I'm coming back to New York with Baba Ashraf Crazy. Lord have mercy. It's going to be at the new location where my man Mr. G owns the Alkaline Oasis. I know KT is going to be there. I know Victor Bowman is going to be there, but I'm going to be there September the 23rd with Ashraf Quasi and now added Mirror Quasi. So we're going to be in the building. Make sure you come on out and show that love. All right, family? You know how we do it, family. Content disclaimer. The views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teachers, scholarship, education, and research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringed. All right, family, let's get ready to close out before I play the rest of the commercials. Anyway, I'm going to close out first with the prayers. I'm going to start closing out early with the prayers so we can just run the commercials and finish it off like that. Once again, want to thank each and every one of you for coming on. Also want to thank the beautiful Conjure Queen for coming in. Did a wonderful job. Make sure you share this broadcast. Very informative, very informative, very informative. And remember, please like, subscribe, and share. King Simon Presents Only Quality People. This is a program that even your children could watch. That's how deep it is, because I ain't cussing and doing all kind of crazy stuff. I'm here to teach, educate, inform, and be the best person and solution-orientated person that I can be. Not into the drama. I don't disrespect the drama. If that's what they want to do, if they want to debate and do other things, I respect them. Whatever they do, my show is about quality people. I'm down with OQP. Yeah, you know me. I'm down with OQP. Yeah, you know me. That's how we do it. All right. And please accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what would be. And like Dr. B. Sirius says, I forgive myself, my family, and others for imperfection, because no one is perfect in this realm. And we're going to close out with Dr. Delbert Blair's prayer right now. Everybody support Dr. Delbert Blair's website by going to this website right here. This is his website, www.themetacenter2.com. They teach hydroponics. They teach how to grow food with water and in your basements. They teach you how to do survival mechanism with magnets and diodes and all of that on this website. Brother Tony has really stepped it up with Brother Dr. Delbert Blair's website. So please go to the metacenter2.com, the metacenter2.com. Here we go. Take a deep breath as we close out with the Please Universal Creator prayer. Uno, dos, tres, 1, 2, 3, ja, li, 2, each, ni, sun, she. Please, Universal Creator, know in my heart that I love you. Please protect me and this planet on which I live now. Please open my mind and my spirit to receive only truth in your love now. I'm going to say it one more time for the people in the back of the room. Prayer time, family. Prayer time and meditation time. Please, Universal Creator, know in our hearts that we love you. Please protect us and this planet on which we live now. Please open our minds, our spirits, and our souls to receive only truth in your love now. Thank you, Dr. Blair, for such a great prayer. Thank you, Dr. Blair, for sharing such a great prayer over the years. Thank you, Dr. Blair, one of my favorite teachers in the whole wide world. Thank you, Dr. Blair. Big up to Ben Armstead and Gail Armstead. I know Ben is still in the hospital. I know Gail, she's an astrologer. They're the one that used to have the psychic fair. I might even start producing the psychic fair out here in Atlanta too. The psychic fair is when a lot of people, I might call it the wonder worker fear, the wonder worker, or the fear of wonder workers, where a lot of the quote unquote advisors and spiritual guides are set up in different parts of the places. You go around and you pay a certain price at the door, and you can go around, and everybody got to pay for them individually and all that kind of stuff. But it's a beautiful thing that they used to do called the psychic fair and all that kind of stuff. But I big up to Samuel F. Reynolds, who used to do called the Mystic Lounge. He used to do that back in the day. So I think it's time to bring that type of stuff in Atlanta and back to New York again. I might have somebody else in New York do that, and I'll be back and forth. And I think we could do it at Nicholas, definitely, but we can also do it out here at Tassili's spot called 640 Evans. Very good place to have a nice little psychic fair, or a fair of wonder workers, because everybody have some wonderful powers out there that they need to not be afraid to show. Just because you was born in a religious family, you don't have to be afraid of your powers. That's like X-Men. You be afraid of your power, you're hiding your powers and all that until 1973. That's when they wanted to let it out. But right now, we're in a 7-year, going into an 8-year. We're in the old soul energy. We are in the resonant energy between the 7, 8, and 9-year cycle. These universal numbers, these are the old soul numbers that we're going into. So it's time to reveal some of the old souls to come back out and start telling the world who you are, what powers you have, what are your superpowers. And all of us have superpowers. We just need to tap in and remember, realign, and reassess where we need to go with these superpowers. All right. On that note, let's close out with the great sayings of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. He says, "Up, you mighty nation, you could accomplish what you will. One love, one aim, one destiny." And like the great Dr. Khalid Muhammad used to say, regardless of land, label, or language, there's but one creative force. Whether you call it God, Allah, he, she, or alien, that is up to you what you want to call them. And in the immortal words of the late great one called Maya Angelou, "And still we rise." Brothers and sisters, continue to rise up to the top. Never let go. It ain't over until we win, like Bubba Kaba says. And stay strong, stay focused, stay healed up, and keep on working on yourself, family. We love you. Peace.
Hi, I'm Lloyd Strayhorn, inviting you to heal with the numbers and cards in person at the Circle of Cosmic Consciousness Retreat in New Orleans. Go to stshealing.com to learn from the Masters, Aquarius Maximus, King Simon, Nina Diamond, Jazz Aphrodite, and myself. Don't forget, New Orleans, August 17th through the 20th at the Cosmic Consciousness Retreat. Register now at stshealing.com. That's stshealing.com. See you there.
The Ministry of Numerovation proudly presents Numerovation for Mental Stability, the book, a numerational guide to recognizing mental instability and staying motivated. And don't forget to get the deck. Of course, it's the Numerovation Deck of Guidance by Brother King Simon. Not only will the book guide you to stay motivated, but the deck will teach you how to use the numbers so you can better serve yourself. Get the deck and the book now. It's the Numerovational Session with King Simon. Text your full name and date of birth to 347-496-1022. That's 347-496-1022. And get my books on Amazon now. Hey, this is King Simon, the International Numerovator. Remember, get all my books on Amazon or go to Linktree/King Simon the Numerovator. And remember, don't forget to book my sessions at 347-496-1022. Book now. important to release past trauma, especially if it runs in your family. I had the opportunity the other day just to talk to my father, and he was telling me about past trauma between him and my mother, and tears welded up in my eyes, and come to realize that, these people have gone through their own stuff. Do not claim their own stuff. What they went through is not what I'm going through. But be willing to cleanse and remove and let go of not just your traumas that you feel you've gotten from your mother and father, but generational trauma that has been passed down from generation to generation. Let go and let God. When things go wrong, don't go with it.